Good morning to you. This is Talk Breakfast with me, Julia Hartley-Brewer. Thank you very much indeed for your company. Leaving royal stories behind us for just a moment. Let's talk right now about an extraordinary battle that's being played out in a tribunal in which we've seen a bizarre situation of one trans charity taking action, legal action, against the Charity Commission and another gay rights charity, arguing for them to lose their charitable status. It's a rather complicated business, but it has led to some extraordinary scenes in the tribunal. Let's talk about this with Dennis Kavanagh. He's the director of the Gay Men's Network, who joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
And I must stress, I mean, you're a barrister yourself. You can talk about this in the detail, but I must stress that we did reach out to the two bodies that are involved in this: the LGBA Alliance, who are being sued along with the Charity Commission by Mermaids and other groups who are a trans charity. We did reach out to both sides, and they offering them a chance to appear on the show. Mermaids did not respond to the request. LGBA Alliance said they won't comment at this time. But I know that your organisation, the Gay Men's Network, you're largely in agreement with the LGBA Alliance, the Lesbian, Gay and Bisexual Alliance. Now, this is a body we've spoken to many times on the show. They were set up because they were concerned that many of the long-standing traditional, for the last quite a few decades, gay rights groups like Stonewall were no longer representing the rights and the needs of gay, bisexual and lesbian people, but they were so focused on trans people, and in doing so were kind of trampling over gay rights. So tell us why this case is being brought.
Well, the case is a spectacularly spiteful one, we think. It's being brought by one charity because they are saying, in effect, if you do not agree with us, if you don't believe little children have gender souls and they need surgical correction, or need to wear breast binders, which is something Mermaids say that little girls with gender dysphoria should do, they say you shouldn't have a charity, and we're in the absurd position. They're
basically saying the LGBT Alliance is a hate group.
They always do this,
rather than and is transphobic, and therefore should not have charitable status under the Charity Commission rules.
Any criticism of these groups is immediately met with the allegation you're transphobic, you're a hate group, you're this, that, and the other. All the LGBT Alliance are saying is that when Stonewall and Mermaids say preposterous things, like a lesbian can have a penis, they actually say that, Julia.
Yeah.
When they say things like that, surprise, surprise, if stalwart lesbians like Bev Jackson, Kate Harris, who've been gay rights activists since the 70s, for goodness sake, surprise, surprise, they say we're not going along with that, and we think that, frankly, is a bit mad.
And part of this is, I agree with you, I think it's a bit mad. I think most people do. I was very pleased to actually get both Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak when they were running of the issue. When I say, is a trans woman a woman? No. Very, very simple, straight about. And it's really important to have that, because actually it's been really difficult to be able to say those things without being accused of transphobia, taken off social media, Ofcom complaints, and like if you're a broadcaster, whereas that is the view of the vast majority of people. But the key thing here in terms of gay people, both gay men and gay women, particularly gay women, this idea that if you are a lesbian, if you are a woman whose sexual romantic preference is for another woman, to refuse to date a trans woman, i.e. a biological man with biological male genitalia, who says that they are a woman and a lesbian, that you are yourselves transphobic. And we have seen there is pressure on gay dating sites and the like.
Absolutely.
That's really sinister. And a lot of lesbians have been talking about how this is basically wiping out the existence of being a lesbian.
Well, someone said on social media the other day, lesbians an endangered species. Lesbians are getting chucked off dating apps, Julia, simply for saying, I'm a woman who wants to go out with a woman. Now, the last time I checked, that was the definition of a lesbian. So people on dating apps, people like me, who happen to be homosexuals, who have the temerity to say, I am a homosexual, are being told, well, that's transphobic. You can't.
I mean, it's absurd, isn't it? Well, what's emerged yesterday, or the last couple of days, is we've seen some of the allegations being made by the LGB Alliance against the Tavistock Clinic. Now, we've had the CAS review into this clinic. I actually live very nearby. I was very aware of what they were doing for a long time, and always thought for a long time it's very, very sinister. Lots of children, really very young children, being given so-called, sort of gender treatment, but basically puberty blockers and drugs that have never been properly tested, experimental drugs, which basically castrate children, make them infertile, unable to ever enjoy any sexual gratification. Decisions that are being made by children often without the parents' consent. And the CAS review basically said there there is something horribly bad going wrong, and that clinic is going to be closed down in the spring because of the political ideology there. Well, what emerged yesterday in the case was that the LGBA Alliance told the tribunal that the greatest threat to young gay people was treatment with life-altering drugs and surgery, because professionals convinced them they were true, arguing that actually this clinic has been, in their words, transing the gay away.
Absolutely.
What do you say to that?
This is institutional homophobia. This is gay conversion by gender.
The majority of young people, young men and women, young boys and girls going to this clinic, have either got other mental health issues, they've got learning difficulties, autism, but also 2/3 of them are gay.
Well, exactly. And why are they at the clinic in the first place? They're there because evil organisations say if you play with the wrong toys, if you're a butch girl, a tomboy, loads of people were tomboys.
Well, my little girl played with lorries. Does that mean she's trans?
Exactly.
No, she looks like a girl who likes playing with lorries.
It just means she should be allowed to play with lorries, not that she needs surgical correction. That's the diagnostic criteria. This is an open-air, live experiment on autistic and gay kids with experimental drugs. This is a scandal up there with all the hay and mid-staffs, and the lawsuits are coming, and the medical negligence bar will give these ghouls no quarter.
I have to say, I mean, again, I'm so pleased that people are talking so openly about it, and the government has actually taken the bull by the horns on this. But again, the celebration of this as a progressive thing, when actually it's countries like Iran, where being gay will basically get you executed, imprisoned, and beaten. But they had the highest rate of trans surgery. Because it's more acceptable to be trans than gay.
If I lived in Iran, Julia, my choices would be go and have surgery and trans the gay away, or be executed.
Yeah, which would you choose?
Bang.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Doug. But again, we did reach out to Mermaids on the other side. They chose not to respond. That was their choice. But obviously always have to put their perspective on air if they wish to do so. Dennis Kavanagh, Director of the Gay Men's Network, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Coming up, we're going to get an update of the latest news. Going to be talking more about what's going to be happening today with our royal